What's up, taters? This is Tree from treeoflogic.com, and welcome to the Treetop News for this Tuesday, August the 9th. Thank you so much for coming to watch the Treetop News. Happy Tuesday to everyone. I just want to give you all some good news. I am now at 439 subscribers. Yes. Oh my God, I'm almost to my goal. Remember, I think it was yesterday, I was at 2 something, or was it 3 something? I can't remember. But I was asking you all to help me get to my goal of reaching to 500 subscribers. This channel is brand new. I'm on my 5th day. It's like 5 days old. And I just released 23 minutes ago, I just released Trump's video of A Nation in Decline. It's a very good video. As a matter of fact, I'm going to have that for the feel good portion of the show. So I'm going to have it at the end of the show. If you want to see it without the illustration in it, this is full on here. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the illustration in here. As you can see, it's the entire video in its full context. So you can go to my channel and watch that on Liberty South Media. Now, without further ado, we got a lot of news to cover today. So let's start off, as always, with international news. So as many of you know, the Amnesty International released a report that showed that Ukraine, along with the little small begging man who wants more money and weapons, show that they are committing war crimes and that he is a war criminal, and they are hurt. And ever since that report came out, the Western mainstream media outlets have not reported on it. They haven't even said anything about it. They're acting like it doesn't exist. However, to my surprise, the United Nations are calling for the protection of civilians in Ukraine after that report has been released. So let's go ahead and read some of this. Last Thursday, Amnesty International said in its report that Ukrainian forces had been setting up military bases in residential areas, including schools and hospitals, and were launching attacks from populated territories. Dejoric told Sputnik on Sunday that the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has always been clear on what concerns civilians in Ukraine. Throughout this war, the Secretary General's message has been clear. We have always and will continue to call for the protection of civilians, and the United Nations has always called for their protection, he said. Ukrainian media reported on Friday that Oksana, oh my God, these names, last name I can't pronounce, the head of Amnesty International's Ukrainian office, was stepping down after the human rights groups published its report on all unlawful Ukrainian tactics. So yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If it doesn't fit their narrative, they don't report on it. Okay, listen, those of you who are in America, I want you to take a deep breath in. Woo-saw, breathe out, because we gave Ukraine more money. Last week, we gave them $550 daggone million. Then 2 days ago, we gave them $1 billion. I think it was $1.7 billion. And then today, actually yesterday, they gave them $4.5 billion. $4.5 billion. Okay. This is, oh my God, you got to be pulling your hair out by now. All right. I mean, what can you do? You can't do nothing. We're not going to get that money back. Okay. If you know what I know what's going on in Ukraine, you know we're not going to get that money back. Okay, so let's read this really quick. The United States approved a $4.5 billion package to Ukraine for budget needs. Yeah, we're helping everybody else pay for their pensions and their retirement and their food and everything else, but we're not doing anything for the Americans here. There's no such thing as putting Americans first, because of course we know that the Democrats hate America and they hate Americans. Reuters reported on Monday, Biden also approved another $1 billion in military aid to Ukraine. That's a total of $5.5 billion in one day. The latest infusion is on top of the billions the United States has already sent Ukraine in the last few months. Ukrainian oligarchs are filling their coffers with while Americans suffer because of high inflation rates. So I guess that leads us up to $8.5 billion. So let me read this paragraph. The United States will provide an additional $4.5 billion to Ukraine government, bringing the total budgetary support since Russia's February invasion. Yep, $8.5 billion. $8.5 billion. We could have been giving that money here to the Americans who need it. But no. We got to put other people first instead of us. And last but not least, this is actually bad news for Hungary. And I think this is a punishment for Hungary's president coming over to America and talking to CPAC, because this is a retaliation when the Orban, that's his name, Orban had already made a deal, and I think the Czech Republic did too, stating that, listen, we are not going to sanction Russia because we need their oil. We need to make sure we keep getting their oil. But what does Ukraine does? Look at that, cut the pipelines anyway. So let me read this really quickly here. This is just crazy. They're acting like their ancestors, if you know what I mean, the nasty naughties, okay? The descendants of the nasty naughties are acting nasty and naughty. The developments come after Ukraine stops transit of Russian oil via southern branch of Druzhba pipeline to Hungary and Czechia. Okay, the developments come after the EU approved the seventh package of sanctions against Russia late last month over Moscow's ongoing special military operations in Ukraine. And what y'all don't know is that, well, some of y'all probably know this, is that part of the sanctions was that it will exclude landlocked countries like Hungary, like I do believe Czech Republic, and another Slovakia. Yeah, I think it doesn't include those countries. But Ukraine is acting like a dictator, and they're just cutting off oil just to spite the leaders like Orban, who came over and spoke at CPAC and actually spoke in favor of Trump. The Russian oil pipeline giant Transneft confirmed in a statement on Tuesday that the Ukraine Transnefta, a company which provides oil transportation services via Ukraine, has suspended the delivery of oil via the southern stream of Druzhba. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, guys. Druzhba. Druzhba pipeline to Hungary and the Czech Republic and Slovakia. At the same time, he added that at the transit through Belarus towards Poland and Germany continues. So they keep the oil going to Germany, which is desperate need because they want to act all silly. Poland and Belarus. But you're going to stop the other pipeline because they're not doing what you want? Demon also said that the Ukraine provides services on the conditions of full payment. And this is a quote from them. But when making a payment for transit through the territory of Ukraine, the funds were returned to the account of PJSC, which stands for Public Joint Stock Company, Transneft, Gazprom Bank, which services payments, notified us that the payment was returned due to EU regulations. That is the seventh package of sanctions against Russia. Is it really against Russia, or is it against these other countries? Because I'm sorry to let y'all know this. Russia is not suffering, baby. Good gosh, man, these people. But you know what? I do have some good news, ladies and gentlemen. Ukraine time is ticking. The clock is ticking for this dictatorship, this fascist country, and its leader. Trust me, TikTok is coming down to the last minute real soon. You'll know it when it comes, but it's coming real soon. This is not going to happen for a lot. I'm going to predict something. I'm going to make a prediction before we go into national news. I see this taking care of itself by October, because that's when it's going to start getting a little nippy, if you know what I mean. All right, so that concludes international news. Let's move over to national and local news. So as you all know, yesterday the FBI raided Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago location looking for classified documents. Now, many of you are already up to date on what's going on, but I wanted to give you some updated information since my live stream. So as you all know, that happened yesterday at 10 o'clock a.m. and it ended, I think the FBI left Donald Trump's location around about 7 p.m. or 7-ish. And so what they did was they unleashed a lot of gun-toting alphabet boys in front of his location. Donald Trump was in New York at the time, and he didn't know that this was happening until the staff called and let him know what was going on. So you had actually rifles, and they would just look like they were a straight up SWAT team that was in front of his residence and around his residence. And also they're now Stotzi was trending on Twitter because this is what this is all about. And so let me just read this for you. The Stasi FBI swooped through President Trump's home, grabbing boxes without going through them or knowing what's in them, to go through later and manufacture a crime. So here we got another witch hunt, and I don't, for a part of me wants to think positive and think that the demon rats are not that stupid to try to come up with some fictitious charges to lock up Trump. I mean, I know they're desperate, but they just can't be that crazy. They just cannot be that crazy. By the way, even though I am news dumping a lot of these articles, as always, they will be available in the description box under the categories. So these articles that I'm talking right now about, that I'm going through, I'm not necessarily reading. Even if I read them, I'll leave the link in the description box below. Okay, so you can always have access to it. And this is Eric Trump says the safe that they cracked open by the FBI was empty. So they were bragging, the FBI was bragging about how there were a safe, or maybe there were safes, maybe plural, that they busted open. And I remember asking, like, I hope that was inside the warrant that they got, because, you know, you have to follow the rules and regulations that the judge issued with inside the warrant. And I don't know, maybe they did put a safe inside the warrant stating that the FBI, the alphabet boys, do have authorization to go through it. But let's listen to what Eric has said about the incident and what's happening next.
I was, Sean. In fact, I was the guy that got the call this morning, and I called my father to let him know that it happened. So I was involved in this all day. And, you know, welcome to politics in the 2000s. Sean, my father never got so much as a speeding ticket in his life, until he made one decision, and that's to go down the escalators of Mar-a-Lago and spend a lot of money and go and actually fight for this country for the first time. And he did a better job than anybody has ever done. And they started coming after him. The Washington Post, the day he won, 2016, the day he won, November 8th, that night they wrote an article. This is when impeachment begins. He wasn't president. He hadn't been elected for 5 minutes at that point. And they start, this is when impeachment begins. And then he's impeached the first time. And then he was impeached the second time. And they slandered him. They belittled him. They went after him. They went after all of us. There's no family in American history that has taken more arrows in the back than the Trump family every single time. And you know what? It's gone on past politics. You look at the attorney generals, you look at district attorneys all over the country. All they want to do is they want to get Donald Trump. They raise money on it. They send fundraising emails about it. They brag on camera about it. They go after him. They subpoena him. I'm probably the most subpoenaed person in the history of the United States. Every single day we get another subpoena. And they do it for one reason. Because they don't want Donald Trump to run and win again in 2024. And Sean, that's what this is about today. To have 30 FBI agents, actually more than that, descend on Mar-a-Lago, give absolutely, no notice, go through the gate, start ransacking an office, ransacking a closet. They broke into a safe. He didn't even have anything in the safe. I mean, give me a break. And this is coming from what? The National Archives? Yet, Hunter Biden, he did firearms crimes, prostitution, illegal drugs, shady deals with everybody around the world. And by the way, it's all on his laptop for the whole world to see. In his own writing, in his own words, corroborated by everybody. Where are these FBI agents? Where is everybody? Why is it that the arrows only fly at Donald Trump and his family? Why is it that the political persecution only goes one way in this country?
You have to do a just straight clean slate when it comes to the alphabet boys and the girls in there, and start with the FBI and then go to the ATF. All right. And then change that definition in reference to what a rifle is or a automatic rifle is because of the bump stock ban. Yes, I'm not going to let that go. Okay. All right. So, yeah, there's a lot of things. So when the Senate does, this should really energize people to definitely go out there and vote. And when the Senate, and actually the GOP will take back the House and the Senate. And once they do, they have a lot of cleaning up to do. But they have to have the spine to do it. And that remains to be seen. I don't know if it's going to happen. Bernie Kerik, this is the former New York City police commissioner, very well respected man. He comes with another angle because they're trying to throw something at Trump. But like I said, I still stand by my statement that they are more afraid of DeSantis than they are of Trump. I also am a member of a betting site. And until never in the betting site, I'm not even going to tell you the betting site, it's a political betting site. This is the first time when they raided Trump's house yesterday, DeSantis, for the first time in the lineup, was now number one with the betting of odds of actually being the nominee. Of actually being the representative for the GOP for the presidential election of 2024. And I thought that was really weird. And I'm thinking what the heck? And you gotta look, I'm sorry, I have to look at things like that because it makes me think that they know something that I don't know. And I'm thinking holy smokes, dude, are they really trying to take Trump out? So let's listen to what Bernie has to say in reference to that. What Bernie Kerik has to say about it. It's a very interesting take. So let's hear it. It's not that long at all either.
A couple different social events, and I heard people talking. They said the Democrats want this guy so bad that they wouldn't put assassination behind it. And I'm going to tell you something. They've tried impeachment. They've tried another impeachment. They've tried one investigation after another. This is about one thing. This is about stopping him from running in 2024. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not into conspiracies. I'm not into anti-government rhetoric. This is the first time in my lifetime that I would say I am deathly afraid for Donald Trump. I would not put assassination behind these people.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? I don't think they're that dumb. I really don't. I disagree. And I adore Bernie, actually, respect him highly, but I don't agree with this. I don't think they're trying to take Trump out like that. I do believe they're trying to discourage him from running. That part is true. And I think they're trying to cause a lot of shame and embarrassment. But all they're doing is energizing his voting base. They're really energizing even those who were on the fence with Trump, those who were, off the Trump train. Now they're back on the Trump train. Those of us who are like, okay, Trump, you done got on my nerves, but we'll be behind you in 2024. This has brought us all together. So I don't see how and I don't think it's easy to take Trump out. And I mean, maybe that's just my arrogance speaking, but I don't think it's easy unless you're going to have somebody positioned on the golf course. And I think it's really hard to have all the Secret Service agents and a lot of security he has down there in Florida. That's going to be tough to do. Other than that, I don't think that's going to be possible. I just don't see that happening. I know that the Democrats are crazy, but they ain't that dang crazy. Speaking of New York, there is a police officer. The police officer that was fired for being friends with Roger Stone has filed a $25 million lawsuit. Yes, very good. Sal Greco, a veteran police officer with 14 years of service to the New York Police Department and an unblemished record, has been fired from the police force as a result of a month-long department review that was conjured up by the mainstream media and liberal politicians earlier this year. And because he was with Roger Stone on January the 4th and January the 6th, he had nothing to do with the whole Capitol thing going on. They decided to fire him. He has a flawless, easy lawsuit. Maybe he won't get exactly $25 million, but he will get some money. I would have to say in the millions. Maybe it'll be 18 million, maybe 10 million, but he will get paid. This is a slam dunk a lawsuit, and he will win. Speaking of New York, now this is good news to me because I have told a lot of my conservative and right-leaning New York Police Department officers, brothers in blue and sisters in blue, to leave New York. I told them we have argued, we have cussed each other out about it. I was like, get out of New York. You're not loved there. You're not respected there. You basically have your hands one tied behind the back, and then you lock people up and they get out within a matter of hours. That place is just basically Armageddon for the criminals. This lawlessness, and you're not respected nor wanted there. Leave. Let the liberal police officers stay there. You know what I'm saying? Let them Democrats. And honey, let me tell you something. It is a lot of liberal and Democrat police officers in the NYPD department. Let them stay there. Let them handle these people. But those of you who are conservative and right wing, get out now. Let me read this really quickly because this is a very interesting, and I'm telling you, I'm very excited about this because they can come to Florida, they can come to Texas, they can come to Georgia, they can come to places where they are loved and respected and honored. And when they enforce the law, the criminals don't get out based upon a signature bond on their skin tone. New York City's new mayor, Eric Adams, ran a platform of returning law and order in the city, but he is not delivering. As always, I told y'all that was going to happen. The men and women of the NYPD do not feel supported by the city leaders and are leaving their force by retiring or finding other jobs. Police feel that the leaders of the New York City are more concerned about protecting criminals, and that is so true. Nearly 2,000 NYPD cops quitting before getting full pensions, a 71% jump from 2021. The New York PD is still hemorrhaging cops. Ever-growing exodus figures show that 2,465 police officers have filed to leave the department this year. Woo! Wee! Ouch! I love to see it though. Oh, let that place burn. 42% more than 1,731 who exited at the same time last year, according to the latest pension fund stats obtained by the Post. More disturbing is the fact that the number of cops hanging up their holsters early before reaching 20 years for a full pension has skyrocketed to 71% this year from the year before of 1,098 from 641. Wow. Listen, leave, come over to the South, or go to the Midwest, Go where you are wanted. Go where you are loved. But most of all, go where you are respected. And speaking of respected, this clown that they elected, he is crying about Abbott sending these illegals into New York and had the nerve to call it un-American. Are you kidding me? Wait a minute, isn't it un-American to allow these people into our country? You know what I'm saying? Invading our country illegally? That's not un-American? So it's not un-American to allow them to go invade New York, Texas. God, I done call two states. Places. So those are the two places that Abbott are shipping them in. But it's American to allow them to invade and strain the resources of Texas, but it's un-American to send them to New York. And they happy to come to New York, honey. When they get off that plane, they go, "Oh, senor, I love me New York. I am here. Yes, New York. I love the Big Apple." So let's listen to this clown crying about how it's un-American.
The border battle continues to bleed over into the 5 boroughs, with thousands of migrants being sent here on buses from Texas. Good evening. I'm Maurice Dubois.
Welcome back. I'm Christine Johnson. The city is helping these asylum seekers.
And as CBS 2's Jessica Moore reports, the mayor is slamming the man who is sending them here.
It's just a mean and cruel thing that he's doing.
Mayor Adams blasted Texas Governor Greg Abbott, saying the Republican is using migrants as political pawns.
Be a true American. I don't think anything is more anti-American than shipping people on a bus 45 hours.
But you're a sanctuary city, idiot. You and Bowser, I think that's her name, you are a sanctuary city for the immigrants. So what's wrong? Wait a minute, you changing your tune now? This is what you get. This is what you get, New York, for electing this clown because he's black and because he's a former Democrat po-po officer. Okay, this is what you get. You reap what you sow. I'm enjoying this. Okay, let the salt just go oozing all in your daggone system, because I love the fact that Abbott actually went on his word. He followed through on his word, and he's shipping them all up there to New York, so you guys see how it feels in Arizona, in Texas, as well as South California.
Without any of the basic needs.
Refugees, welcome here.
Look,
the mayor greeted.
Look, they happy. Did you see that? Refugees are welcome here. I love the Big Apple.
Busloads
They're not sad.
And arriving at Port Authority with no resources and no direction. City services were on hand to assist with food and housing, including, the mayor confirmed today, shelter at city hotels.
It is unconscionable that a governor would treat human beings as pawns in his chess game to score political points.
Governor Abbott has been sending busloads of migrants to Democratic cities across the country in a defiant challenge to President Biden's open border policy. This morning, he clapped back at Adams, tweeting in part, quote,
"Wait a minute. Well, look, he hugging them. Well, you welcoming them, and then you're going to talk behind their back? Shady."
Did he say it was horrific when Biden flew plane loads into New York?
Facts.
No. The New York mayor has no idea how horrific it really is.
Facts.
Immigration attorney Renata Castro says nothing in the law stops the migrants from traveling back down to Texas. She thinks the governor might be shooting himself in the foot long term, sending away workers who are often willing to do manual labor.
Okay, first of all, everybody loves, for some reason, a lot of people who live outside of America love Hollywood and New York. When I was living in Germany, I couldn't tell you how many times people would save so much money to go vacation in New York. New York. I would look at these people like they were crazy. I was like, why would you go to one of the most dangerous cities to actually vacation there? And they're like, well, Broadway, and I would like to go to the stores and watch the big screens and the light, and and get robbed. To look at the trash on the ground. I'm like, really? But they love New York. So what she's talking about is really stupid and it's not possible. These people, when they get to New York, they're not coming back to the South. They rather live in New York than to come into the South. And by the way, this whole argument that you're going to need like hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants in order to take agriculture jobs is just a flat out lie. We have Americans who want those jobs, but you guys don't put American first. So I can see how she's going to sit up here and lie. Get ready for her to lie, though. I just want you to know everything that's coming out of her mouth is about to be a lie.
He has to deal with labor shortages that are already critical in the agriculture industry.
Wrong.
Pushing them away is
Wrong.
not good business for Texas.
Adams is actively seeking financial support from the White House as New York is already struggling with a homeless crisis of its own. He said the administration seems, quote, open and receptive to helping New York help those in need. Jessica Moore, CBS 2 News.
Okay, so there's that. You know what I'm saying? Cry harder, okay? Cry harder. Oh my God, I got some good news. I reported that Joe Kent was losing in the state of Washington primary against Jaime Beutler. Honey, let me tell you something. I was wrong. Yesterday I had reported that it was a tie, and then all of a sudden Joe was ahead, and now he has won. So another pro-January 6er, another anti-Trumper, never Trumper has been gone. Okay, they had their seat taken away from them, and Joe is now in that seat, and they're going to be now. Hopefully, they can win against the Demon Rat. But as far as that GOP rhino, she is out. Joe is in. Congratulations, Joe. We are proud of you. Now, I'm not necessarily proud of Little Rubio. Not a fan of Little Rubio, okay? But Little Rubio decided to do something because, you know, he's coming up against Val Flemings or Dimmings, I think is her last name. I got her stuff coming up soon, right after this one. And what Little Rubio was trying to do was pass a bill in which they would basically stop the promotion of Soros-backed prosecutors. Let me read this for you for a second, and then we'll look at the video. Dems block Rubio's attempt to rein in Soros-backed prosecutors. Talking to Congress, the senator claimed Americans worry more about rampant violent crime in the country than about buying solar panels. And there are crazy prosecutors that refuse to prosecute entire categories of crime. Wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Hold on a second. He's just okay. The left-wing media is already crying anti-Semitism over Rubio's anti-Soros remark. Okay, I need y'all to understand. Okay, I didn't read this because this is what Rubio's saying in this video. We're going to play it in a minute. Soros is, I want you to understand, Soros loved Nazis, but not the nasty naughties, okay? Soros loved the nasty naughties, all right? He helped them. He is against Israel. So how can y'all sit up here and say that's anti-Semitism when Soros hate Israel? That's not a Zionist. He don't like them. So stop doing. Y'all not let people say just because you're against Soros that's anti-Semitism. No, Soros don't consider himself any way near a supporter of Israel or his Jewish people or what. Okay, not the slightest. As a matter of fact, once again, he was proud to help the nasty naughties to help to go against the Jewish people in the concentration camp. So I just wanted to debunk that. So here we go. Here we go with Little Rubio talking about his bill that he wanted to get passed in the Senate to stop the prosecutors that have been funded by Soros.
I don't think I need to tell anybody here. Our work is at its best when it's focused on what people care about. Let me tell you what people care about. They don't care as much about buying solar panels and electric cars as they do not having to live in a community where violent crime is rampant and you've got some crazy prosecutor that refuses to put people in jail, that refuses to prosecute entire categories of crime. People are worried about that, and rightfully so, and it's happening. We have these beautiful cities that were once world-class cities that have become unlivable all over this country because we have these lunatic prosecutors that have decided they're not going to, the entire categories of crime they will not prosecute. That's the kind of stuff we should be working on here tonight. all night long. You're going to spend all night working on something, work on that. Don't waste time on stuff that doesn't matter to real people working every single day who are not going to be driving an electric car next year or the year after that. But they might get mugged. But they might be a victim of a violent crime. And so what this does is it sends to the Judiciary Committee and asks them, in 3 days, come back with some ideas about how you can spend just a little bit of these billions of dollars that we're throwing away on this garbage, how we can spend a little bit of that money to put criminals in jail so Americans no longer have to live in fear in their communities.
And of course, they don't want to do that. And because the Senate is majority led by demon rats, they blocked it. So there's that. Okay. So here we have the new poll that's down there in Rubio's area. And Val Demings, that's her name, Val Demings. They are now tied. Numbers for Progress Florida and Florida Watch shows that Senator Marco Rubio and Democratic challenger Val Demings are tied with 45% each. Now, this is Rubio. Oh God, y'all couldn't find nobody to daggone primary Rubio. Val Demings is a force to be reckoned with. Do not underestimate her. Actually, the Democrats wanted her to be the vice president selection. They wanted to select her as the vice president instead of cackling Kamala Harris. But apparently they wanted knee pads instead of Val, but she was number second. She was second in the runnings, and so that's she's a force to be reckoned with. Don't underestimate her, okay? Not at all. So I want to talk about something in reference to privilege, and this is gonna like really make you mad because I want to show you who really gets privilege and who's not getting privilege. Fort Hood Army vet sentenced to 18 months in prison for stealing $2.1 million worth of military equipment and listing some of those items on eBay. Now, she got 18 months for actually doing something that should be, what, a 10-year sentence? Okay? But, of course, you know, she's a woman. She got the little color in her hair. And, yeah, she's a black. But let's not forget what happened to this guy. Do you know who this guy is? Oh, you don't? Oh, you don't? Well, that is Guy, what is Guy's name? Rifted? Guy Wesley Rifted. And he got 7 years in prison for just walking into the Capitol. So you see, where's that privilege y'all talking about? 7 years. 7 years. I've talked about this on my Telegram. He got 7 years. By the way, his son, who's a liberal, testified against him and actually told the court that they wanted him to get life in prison. So, you know, saying, hey, and by the way, you raise your child and you let your child become a liberal and you don't do nothing about it, and then they turn against you, I'm not surprised. I'm going to say it's your fault. I'm going to say you should be able to raise your child to be conservative like you and not to be treacherous like that and turn against his own father. Good Lord. But once again, I want to show y'all something, right? 7.5. I think it says 7.5 years in prison for this man, and this chick is 18 months. 18 months. Who's that? What was the name of that person that took pictures of the ship, and they were about to get, and they got court-martialed, and they had to do 6 years for some pictures. Whew, let me calm down. I'm actually like getting too excited and getting angry, and I'm screaming into the mic. So once again, when somebody tell you that there's somebody that has some privilege, I want you to show them this situation versus this situation and see who really got the privilege. And last but not least, I want to give you guys an update on what happened with that manager from that McDonald's in Bed-Stuy, New York. They have pulled the plug. He was on life support. As you all know, there was an incident where his mother received cold fries. The McDonald's staff begins to clown her. She calls her a felonious son. Okay. He is a felon. Like, where's his picture right here? No, that's him right here. This guy he's a career criminal. She called him. He came down there with his girlfriend. His girlfriend gave him a gun, and then he shot the manager, who actually, believe it or not, this guy did not have a criminal record, actually, and he was the manager of the McDonald's. He came outside, and when he came out, this guy told him to come on outside to handle it outside. When he came outside, they thought he was going to fight. Nope, he had a gun that was given to him by his girlfriend, who's also been arrested. Okay, she's going to be served. Well, I don't know, it's New York. Under these circumstances, they may just serve 5 months in jail and then get out. But I just want you guys to know that they have pulled the plug on him. He has passed away, and they interviewed the girlfriend's grandmother. And this woman, once again, there's no hope for this community. This woman said, well, if they had them fries hot, none of this would have happened. No accountability. None whatsoever. Grandmammy is saying that had they gave the woman some fries, then the manager of McDonald's would not be, in a morgue right now. So instead of saying, well, had the career criminal had actually the mama, you had to start it with the mama, because the mama, single mama, of course, called her son, and her son came down to the McDonald's to defend his mama, and then told the manager, who's the black guy, this guy right here, to come outside. He comes out, and then he has a gun given to him by the girlfriend, this is her grandmama, because her mama didn't raise her. The grandmama raised her. The father don't even have nothing to do with her. The father say, hey, let her deal with what she got to deal with, which I kind of applaud that take. And nobody has accountability. Okay? You don't have to settle disputes by shooting others, by fighting. You can use your words. But, what do you expect from a matriarchal community that has no accountability? This is what I'm saying. We got to bring fathers back into the homes, and you got to have the men lead in certain aspects of life and in general. But they have to be qualified. We just can't have it as anybody, because you're going to have effeminate men who are going to think like women and be like, you need to go down there and handle that. You need to go down and handle that with your hands in here. Take my 38. Take my gun. Take my pistol. I swear. Woo! I swear. Anyway, that concludes the national and local news. It's pretty longer than usual. But anyway, I got a good feel-good with Trump's video that's going to be coming up next. So we have feel-good news coming up next. And remember, I have the full video available on my Liberty South Media channel. So if you want to see it without it being in the illustration, you can go over there right now. So let's move over to feel good news right now.
Feels good. Feels good. Feels good. Ow! Feels good.
So Trump uploaded a video on Truth Social to his personal account. A video. It's really well done, as a matter of fact. And it was titled A Nation in Decline. This was taken from his speech that he made at CPAC. It was very motivational, very inspirational, and I think this is a good time to have a video like this. However, I will tell you that I did edit a small clip out of that video, because if I was to upload it to YouTube, it will go against the community guidelines, and that was an actual stabbing. Now, the original unedited version is on Rumble, and it's also on Truth Social, but they would never let a video like that fly on YouTube. Now, I have, as you can see, the video right now is imprinted on my illustration. If you want to see the unaltered version of it, meaning that it still have that edit in there, so it doesn't basically I don't get a strike, it will be on my Liberty South Media channel. Go over there. It is growing. And thank you so much for subscribing. Help me get to 500 subscribers by the end of this week. And if you want to see the unedited version, you can go to Rumble and check that out. So anyway, this is a very feel-good video. So I decided to showcase it here. It starts off a little doom and gloom, but it ends in a very inspirational and a motivational stance. So let's watch that now.
We are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in over 40 years, where the stock market just finished the worst first half of a year in more than 5 decades. We are a nation that has the highest energy cost in its history, and we are no longer energy independent or energy dominant, which we were just 2 short years ago. We are a nation that is begging Venezuela and Saudi Arabia for oil. We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving behind dead soldiers and American citizens and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment in the world. We are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country, Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. We're a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never before. We've never seen anything like this. We're a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is about all you get. We're a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, where crime is rampant like never before, where the economy has been collapsing, where more people died of COVID in 2021 than in 2020. We are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon and China to use the trillions and trillions of dollars it's taken from the United States to build a military to rival our own. We are a nation that over the past 2 years is no longer respected or listened to all around the world. And we are a nation that is hostile to liberty and freedom and faith. We are a nation whose economy is floundering, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the bottom of every list. We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke. But soon we will have greatness again. It was hard-working patriots like you who built this country, and it is hard-working patriots like you who are going to save our country. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield. Ever, ever, ever. We will never give in. We will never give up. And we will never, ever back down. We will never let you down. As long as we are confident and united, the tyrants we are fighting do not stand even a little chance. Because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone. And it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again.
And there you have it. That is the inspirational A Nation in Decline by Donald Trump. What do you think about it? Like I said, if you want to see the unimprinted version, like right here, it's going to be on my illustration. But if you want to see it in its incomplete video style, just go to the link available in the pinned comment as well as in the description box below. My new channel, Liberty South Media. And there you have it, taters, the conclusion to the Treetop News for this Tuesday, August the 9th. Now, before I leave, I want to thank someone who gave a super thanks to my last Treetop News. It was the one I did yesterday, and that's Donovan Reed. Donovan Reed gave a super thanks, $5. I appreciate that, Donovan. I meant to announce you at the beginning of the video, but I am doing it now because I remembered. By the way, if you would like to also contribute, you can also do so with various links that are available in the description box as well as the pinned comment. But most of all, be sure to go to my new channel, Liberty South Media, and subscribe. I want to get to 500 subscribers by the end of this week. And the way things are going, I may achieve it by tomorrow, honey. But anyway, let me know what you think about the news within this segment. Also, be sure to leave a like and communicate with me in the comments section. And I'll see you on the next video. Later, taters.